Hare Krishna. Some problem. Hare Krishna, able to hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, yes.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamiyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakangalta Shri Vishakanatamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome to all the devotees for our weekly Bhakti Vaibhav class. So in the last class we were discussing from chapter 11, where with the due permission of all the Hastinapur residents, the five Pandavas, Kunti Maharani, Draupadi, Subhadra, etc., Lord Krishna reached Dwaraka. As soon as he entered the outskirts of Dwaraka, he blew his conch shell, hearing which all the men came out collecting some gifts to invite Lord Krishna into Dwaraka. So as they came, presenting those gifts, they expressed their gratitude to Lord Krishna. They said that you are our master, you are our father, you are our mother, you are our brother, you are our elvisher. So under your shelter, which are actually sought after by all the devatas such as Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, we are all protected. We are all in safe condition. So please take care of us. Like that, whenever you go out, we are always in worried because we don't know whether you will come back immediately or not, because everyone is very dear to you. When they request you to stay back, you will stay back out of love for them. So one moment out of your separation appears to be like a yuga for us. So please don't go again. Please stay back in Dwaraka itself. Like that, they have expressed their gratitude to Lord Krishna. Then Lord Krishna started entering, accepting all their gifts. He entered into Dwaraka. There comes the description of the entire Dwaraka. So wonderful description. In the meantime, all the ladies decorated the entire town, all the main roads, crossroads, small streets, and their respective homes. On the roadside, they have put flowers and sugarcane sticks and etc. And in front of their homes, in front of their houses, they put Purna Kumbha, different variety of grains, flowers, toranas with mango leaves, etc. So many things they have put, so that Lord Krishna is invited very nicely. So these three verses actually talked about all the different decorations they have done all throughout the different streets and main roads of the entire Dwaraka. Then, starting from verse number 16 onwards, other did they receive? Who all received Krishna? That is being mentioned. Nishamya Preshtam Ayantam Vasudevo Mahamana Akruraschograsena Ramascha Vikrama Pradyumnascha Sambo Jambavati Suta Praharsha Vegocha Sita Sa Shayanasana Bojana Varanendram Puraskrutya Brahmanaisu Samangala Sasumangalai Shankaturya Ninadena Brahma Goshena Chadrita Pratyajagmu Raterhashta Prana Yagata Sadvasa Varamukyascha Chataso Yanais Taddarshanostuka Lasat Kundala Nirbhata Kapolavadana.
On hearing that the most dear Krishna was approaching Dwaraka Dhama, magnanimous Vasudeva, Akrura, Ugrasena, Balarama, the supreme humanly powerful, Pradyumna, Charudeshna, and Shamba, the son of Jambavati, all extremely happy, abundant resting, sitting, and dining. They hastened toward the Lord on chariots with Brahmanas bearing flowers before them were elephants, emblems of good fortune, conch shells and buglers were sounded, and Vedic hymns were chanted. Thus they offered their respects, which were saturated with affection. At the same time, many hundreds of well known prostitutes began to proceed on various vehicles. They were all very eager to meet the Lord, and their beautiful faces were decorated with dazzling, dazzling earrings which enhanced the beauty of their foreheads.
So, different aspects of the welcome are mentioned in these four verses. It says that Nishamya Preshtam Ayantam Vasudevo Mahamana Akruras Chograshenasta Ramascha Adbhuta Vikrama. Hearing that their dear Lord was coming, liberal Vasudeva, Vasudevo Mahamana, the great minded Vasudeva, Akrura, Ugrasena, Balrama, who of astonishing prowess, who could perform wonderful activities, and then Pradyumna, son of Rukmini, Charudeshna, Samba, the son of Jambavati. I think Charudeshna is the son of Rukmini only. Yeah, Rukmini only. So then Samba is the son of Jambavati. So what were they doing when they were hearing this sound of this conch shell, which Lord Krishna played as soon as he reached the uh, outskirts of Dwaraka. So some of them were eating, some of them were sitting and talking to each other, and some of them are sleeping, taking time rest out of great bliss. But though they were eating along with their other family members, though they were sitting and talking to other family members, though they are about to sleep or sleeping, giving up all those activities as soon as they heard the sound, they became greatly joyful. Praharsha and Vegochasita Shayanasana Bhojanai. Even though they might be doing all these things, Praharsha Vega, with eagerness, experiencing joy, immediately they got up. They gave up whatever they are doing. And then, overjoyed and enthusiastic, excited from love, putting the best elephants in front. Immediately they came out of their respective homes. They called the main elephant Varanendram. Varanendram means the king among the elephants, best of the elephants. And Purashkrutya, they're actually decorated very nicely. And Brahmana Sa Sumangalai. And they also invited many of the well-known Brahmanas who are you are respected according to their age, according to their learning, etc., etc. And all those Brahmanas were kept in the front. Then the elephants, then all these warriors, I mean, all these family members of Krishna and other Madura, Dwaraka residents. So they went out with the Brahmanas decorated auspiciously, accompanied by the chanting of the mantras. It is mentioned as Brahma Goshena. Brahma Goshena means the Brahmanas are chanting the Vedic mantras. Brahma means Vedas. Brahmanas is another name of the Vedas. So the Vedic mantras are chanted, and then Shanka Turiya Ninadena. The Shanka and Turiyas were sounding. The sounds of the conches and Turiyas. Hundreds of, in addition to all these things. So one side, all the family members of Lord Krishna, such as Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Charudeshna, Samba, basically the fathers, uncles, sons, all of them got up, giving up whatever they are doing currently. They came out, they sent messages to Kavati to bring the elephants, all the main elephants, decorating them nicely. and also Brahmanas were informed that to come forward, and all the Brahmanas are standing in the front. First level Brahmanas are elderly, the second level Brahmanas are chanting Vedic mantras, and in the behind them there are so many other people who are coming along with their different instruments like Shankar, Turiya, and other things. So, and then in addition to all these people, Varan Mukyas, Vara Mukyas cha Shatato Yanais Tad Darshanastuka Lasat Kundala Nirbhuta Kapola Vadanashriya. Then hundreds of beautiful dancing girls, eager to see the Lord, with glittering earrings lighting up their cheeks, also came on vehicles. At the same time, the messages were sent to the different girls who were well known to dance. So all those dancing girls came in the respective vehicles. So because they did not come dancing, they came all the way up to where Krishna is there. After seeing Krishna, they began to dance. So there is no point in dancing outside. They should dance in order to welcome Krishna. So all those ladies came in their respective vehicles so that they can reach the place where Krishna is there very fast. So that was the whole idea. So this is how the different personalities in Dwaraka, they are expressing their eagerness. So whatever they are doing, they stopped everything and they suddenly got up and ran out to the outskirts of the city to receive Lord Krishna. So this is the love and eagerness the Dwaraka have towards Lord Krishna. 4 verses are connected together, that's why I put them together. The word Preshtam can be taken either with conventional meaning of husband for the queens or with its etymological meaning, dear for everyone. So Preshtam means Preyasam, something like that, who is very dear to one and all, and especially for the wives, for the queens of Lord Krishna. And out of joy, they overlooked eating another activity that they are doing. And immediately, they got up from wherever they are there. Those who are sleeping, they got up. Those who are eating, they got up, giving up whatever they are eating. And those who are talking, they also got up. And whatever else they are doing, they stopped everything. And they ran out of the home, sent messages to everyone, get him, get him, get him, get him, get him. And they went to the outskirts of Krishna, outskirts of the Dwaraka to see and to welcome Lord Krishna. So in the purports, Lord Srila Prabhupada actually talks about all these personalities: Vasudeva, Grura, Ugrasena, Balram, and Pradyumna, Charudeshna, and Samba. So these are details you can read through later on. Otherwise, for the 18th purport, Prabhupada says that how a great personality is supposed to be welcomed. So because they have called for Mavati to get the elephant, best of the elephants, and they may send messages to call for the Brahmanas. They send the messages to call for those Brahmanas who will chant Vedic mantras, and they also sent messages for those who play the different instruments. Everyone was there, so no one is missing. So the Vedic way of receiving a great personality creates an atmosphere of respect, which is saturated with affection and veneration for the person received. The auspicious atmosphere of such a reception depends on the paraphernalia described above, including conch shells, flowers, incense, decorated elephants, and the qualified Brahmanas reciting verses from the Vedic literatures. Such a program of reception is full of sincerity on the part of both the receiver and the received. So such kind of reception we can see from Ramayana also. When Lord Rama, after completing the 14 years of Vanvas, when he came, he sends Hanumanji to inform Bharat Maharaj in Nandigram. So as soon as Bharat Maharaj understood that Lord Rama is coming, immediately called for everyone and told that overnight they should prepare a beautiful road from Nandigram to Ayodhya and decorating both the sides of the road. And everyone in Ayodhya, they decorated their respective homes, the front side of their homes, the main roads, side roads, crossroads, with a lot of festoons on this, that, so many garlands, etc., Toranas. And especially, we celebrate this festival of Diwali that they have put lamps all over in order to welcome Lord Ram back to Ayodhya. So a great person is supposed to be received like that. We also saw and heard that His Holiness Radhana's. Now we did not see that time. We did not go there for the yatra. Radhanaswami Maharaj was welcomed in Srirangam by the Srirangam priest in an elaborate way. A chariot was there and Mukut was offered to Maharaj, and Maharaj was sat in the seat, and an elephant was also there, like that. A grand reception was organized for His Holiness Radhanaswami Maharaj. Even in the past 5 years back, for Pune temple opening, when the Rashtrapati came, so it was like grand reception. It like there is a huge protocol because Rashtrapati was coming. The entire road was made. The entire Pune, wherever is going to travel, the entire road was newly made, and both the sides there was security, and the entire city traffic was diverted, and entire roadways are very free, and it's like that. So when a great person comes, there is a special arrangements in order to receive that person. And in the next verse, there is a mention about the dancing girls. So Prabhupada translates them as the prostitutes. So then in the purport, he explained that even though there was a need of prostitutes in those dates, but they are all devotees of the Lord. But previous Acharya, they say that they are not prostitutes, they are the dancing girls. It is a special community who dance for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, for the pleasure of the King. So even in the recent history also we hear that in the assembly, in the court of the king, there are always dancers and singers. They would always sing for the pleasure of the king and the pleasure of the ministers, and whenever some guest comes, they would sing and dance. That is a custom being followed from ages. So they are always there. Even we see whenever we go to Jagannath Puri for Jagannath Rath Yatra, there are dancers and singers. They dance. There are a huge group of people are there. They dance and sing for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. This is a custom, traditional custom being followed for ages, we can say. It is not something new. Even later on, we will read when the fourth canto. So when King Prithu appeared, all these different wonderful things are happening in the assembly, royal assembly. So even those days also the singers were there, dancers were there, they are always there. So in that way. But eventually, in due course of time, uh, in the recent history, these dancers are treated as prostitutes, and they were converted into that kind of category. But not it is not like that in the past. In the past, they are all well recognized and well respected dancers. It is a family tradition. In the entire family tradition, they used to do dancing and singing. It is a respectable occupation. So then Goswami continues. And who else was there in addition to these dancers? So now this verse is interesting verse. Nata nartaka gandharva suta magada vandina gayanti chottama shloka charitani adbhutani cha.
Expert dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and learned speakers all gave their respective contributions, being inspired by the superhuman pastimes of the Lord. Thus they proceeded on and on.
Yeah, we have different terms being mentioned in this verse very nicely. The Sanskrit language, our traditional language, is so special that for everyone there is a title. Nata, Nartaka, Gandharva, Suta, Magada, Vandina. See, different people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 category of people. Everyone has a different service to do. The actors, dancers, singers, reciters, bards, and eulogists sing about the astonishing activities. So, in one sense, you see, singer, reciter, bard, and eulogist all seems to be same, but they are not same. Everyone has different things to do. Nata are basically actors, are those who are skillful at portraying rasa. So natas are those by speaking words or by their facial expressions, they will display different rasas by their action. And nartakas are those who display different rasas by their dancing abilities. We have these famous traditional dances, Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, Kathakali, Odissi, and Kathak. So like that various dances So the dancers who dance to the rhythms of the songs, but express all the 12 rasas with their facial expressions. That they don't speak. Somebody else is singing, they dance and they express their emotions. They express different emotions according to the rasas need to be displayed. And natas, sorry. So natas are those who perform action by speaking words, by their facial expressions and bodily expressions. They express the rasas. They display the different rasas. And Gandharvas are the singers. Even in Borloka, there are Gandharvas, they are singers. Even at our place also, whoever sings, they are called as Gandharvas. Because the singing is the occupation of Gandharvas, in that way they are seen. Gana Gandharva, this is one of the title given to the good singers. Bala? Maybe children, if they are nicely singing, they will be given Bala Gandharva. Something like that.
No, there was one singer in Maharashtra. He is famously known as Bala Gandharva.
Okay. Maybe he might be started singing from childhood itself. So basically, Gandharvas are singers. And Sutas recite Puranas. Sutas are one category of people. They recite Puranas for the pleasure of the guest, whoever is being invited. Magadas praise the lineage of the families. So Krishna comes from Yadu Vamsha, Prishni dynasty, Yadu Vamsha, etc. So all the great the great activities of the great personalities in this lineage are being sung in front of this person, so that he will feel happy. And then Vandi of pure intelligence sing praises of the person. So Vandis are those who will sing the wonderful exploits of this person, the guest. So Krishna from childhood, what all wonderful activities he performed, they are all sung by Vandi. So Vandi talks about the person, the Magadas talks about the ancestors, and Sutas talks about the Puranic references. In the Puranas, who all did such kind of wonderful activities, etc. etc. Gandharvas sing the normal songs, maybe not cinema songs, but songs of the devotional songs or songs in connection to the dancing of the Nartakis, etc. And Nata are those who enact different pastimes of the Supreme Lord and for the pleasure of the guest. So all these are done for the pleasure of the one guest. Because the guest is so great, so special, so all these things are naturally done. Even Ramayana also, if you read that section, as the Lord Rama was coming to Ayodhya, all these descriptions are there. Not only this, such kind of things are arranged every time. Whenever a king goes to battle, if he wins the battle and he comes back, he will be received with this kind of pomp and glory. This is the general custom. It is followed. So even in our case also, it's like when a guest comes, so the guest will be first. Guest will be sitting in the main assembly, and in the dais there will be words of welcome. Then they will request small children to sing some song, to dance for a particular song, and then there is a formal introduction of this person, and also some of the great exploits of that person and someone connected to that person. If that person is coming in a great lineage, everything is of that lineage is being told, and eventually that person will be invited onto the dais. So same custom of receiving some important guest, but followed in a different type of circumstance. So it is like that.
Prabhuji, what did you tell about Vandinas?
Vandi are sing about that guest, glories of the guest.
Prabhuji, the genealogist.
Magadas.
Genealogist is Magadas.
Magadas are the genealogist, who will sing the glories of the previous family members, their ancestors. So such is the wonderful culture of receiving a powerful guest. So then, Sudha Goswami continues further. Bhagavam tatra bandhunam pauranam anuvartinam yata vidhi upasangamya sarvesham manamadade prahvabi vadanashlesha karasparsha smitekshanai ashvasya chaswapakebhyo varai chabhimatervibhu.
Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, approached them and offered due honor and respect to each and every one of the friends, relatives, citizens, and all others who came to receive and welcome him. The Almighty Lord greeted everyone present by bowing his head, exchanging greetings, embracing, shaking hands, looking and smiling, giving assurances, and awarding benedictions even to the lowest in rank.
So now Lord had received the reception by all the residents of Dwaraka. Now Lord is responding. So it says that the Lord met them all and suitably respected all friends, relatives, and citizens who had come to receive him. Bhagavams tatra bandhunam pauranam anuvartinam. Bandhunam is relatives, pauranam is the citizens, and anuvartinam are the friends, those who follow him. Friends means they are closely connected and they follow, obviously. So then, yata vidhi upasangamya sarvesham manamadade. He respected them according to their position, according to their personality. So then, an important point is that ashvasya, he is giving ashvasan to everyone. Till now, they are like in a painful separation condition. Now, by announcing that he has come, so don't worry, I am here with you. I will take care of your well-being, something like that. Removing all fear from the fathers, from the gurus, by bowing his head. Prahva abhivandana. So for the elders like Vasudeva and others who are there, what was his name? Who was the king of Ugrasena? Yeah, such kind of people. He offered his respectable obeisances, and by which Lord Krishna removed their fears. And then Prahva Abhivandya, offering obeisances. Ashlesha, by embraces others who are little elder than Krishna, are equal to Krishna, embraced. For the elders, he offered obeisances. For those who are equal to Krishna, the little elder, embraced. And Karasparsha, for others who are not directly his family members, but his well-wishers, Karasparsha, touching their hand, not handshake. In the Vedic culture, Karasparsha means when the other person is kind of offering obeisances and this person will touch like this. That is Karasparsha, not handshake. Handshake is our recent, what do you say, imported culture. It is not traditional culture. That Karasparsha is not handshake. Brahma was offering obeisances like this and Lord Krishna just touched it like this. For example, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj comes to temple from America. So all the devotees will stand in the white marble area, courtyard area. Everyone will stand, Matajis will stand on side and Prabhujis will stand on side. So Maharaj comes in front of the Matajis and offers obeisances. And Prabhuji comes toward the Prabhujis, offers obeisances. Some of them are who are equal to Maharaj, kind of equal means who are senior devotees, Maharaj embraces. And some small kids comes. What will do? Maharaj touches their head with his weight bag. And if there are some devotees whom Maharaj may not know so much, who are may not be so close to Maharaj. So for them, just out of gesture, Maharaj touches their hand. They were offering obeisances like this with folded hands. He just touches their hands. Because they are elderly in age, maybe equal, they cannot put on the head. For small kids, Maharaj puts his own hand on the head of the children. But for others, he just touches their folded palm, which is Namaskar Mudra. That is called Karasparsha, not handshake. Handshake is not at all Vedic culture. It is imported culture. So then, others with embraces, and some others with the touch of hands, and for others with smiles and glances. For those people where Lord Krishna could not go, just by smiles and glances, he kind of satisfied them. And then he respected all this. By doing all these things, offering obeisance to elders, uh, embracing those who are equal, and touching the hands of those who are not well acquainted, very well, not very closed, and smiles and glances with all others. He respected all, down to the outcasts with desirable gifts. So they all brought gifts to Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna is also presenting gifts to everyone in return. So this is the Vedic way of receiving some guest and reciprocating with the guests. So here Lord Krishna very nicely follows. Yata Vidhi means as suitable. Prava means to bow the head. With bowing down to their feet, Lord Krishna offered these respects. Lord Krishna did this to fathers and other elders, elder relatives, and to the sages like Garga. Garga is the spiritual master, Gargacharya in that sense, and the fathers and grandfathers and other elders who are equal to the age of Krishna's father. He offered obeisances for everyone. And he greeted elders of the Yadu clans with words. Other elders, the Yadu elders, by saying good words. How are you? How are you? How are you? Like that. So that is done. And then for those who are of same age of Krishna, embrace them. And for others, all the way up to the down low outcasts, he confronted them all. He comforted them all, giving them fearlessness. So Varai means desirable gifts. So whichever gifts the people might get, upon getting them, they might be pleasing, happy. Such kind of gifts Krishna gave to those respective peoples. So this is the way one supposed to receive. Even now also, if you see this, whenever devotees come to temple on Sundays, so generally many of them will get some of them will get some fruits, some of them will get some flowers, some of them will get some sweets. This is like general custom. When we go to meet a great personality, we should not go with empty hands. So we should take always something. Even Prabhupada in the beginning, in 22 Second Avenue, he would always say, he would always appreciate if something they bring. So whatever they bring, Prabhupada would always appreciate. Sometimes they would bring 1 or 2 apples. And at the end of the program, Prabhupada would cut the same apple and give it to all the attendees as prasad. Something like that. So this is always the Vedic culture. Even in our respective families also, when we go to some relatives' home, we always take something. Some fruits or some sweets or something like that. So that is the custom being followed. Empty hand, matlab, taking something is display of one's affection towards the others. So one no need to say that I love you, I love you, I love you. This is all Western culture. So just by doing the things, the affection is already conveyed. In the past, there was no need of expressing one's gratitude. So nowadays we have all these days. So Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, this day, that day. So these are all imported culture. The expression of gratitude is shown by simply continuing one's activities. It's not that one need to explicitly say. Just by these activities, it is conveyed, obviously. So it is like that. So then, Suta Goswami continues. Swayancha Guru Bir Viprair Sadharai Sadarai Stavitairapi Ashirbir Yujyamanunyair Vandibis Chavishatpuram.
Then the Lord personally entered the city accompanied by elderly relatives and invalid Brahmanas with their wives, all offering benedictions and singing the glories of the Lord. Others also praised the glories of the Lord.
So then, receiving blessings from the fathers, teachers, and grandfathers, the Brahmanas, the elders, along with their wives. It is mentioned that Swayamcha Gurubir Viprair Sadarai. So some of the, like, what we can say, some of the elderly ladies also came out along with their husbands just to receive Lord Krishna. They could not stay back. So the elderly ladies like Vasudeva's wives, like Krishna's mothers, and some of the Brahmanas' wives. So they all came. So Lord Krishna offered obeisances to all of them together, and all of them blessed Lord Krishna. So eulogists and others, he entered the city. Having received all of their blessings, all of their greetings, slowly Lord Krishna, along with all of them, slowly entering into the main roads of Dwaraka. So now, what happens as he was walking on the main roads of Dwaraka? That is described. Rajamargam gate Krishna, Dwarakaya kulashriya, harmyani arur vipras, tadiksha mahostava, nityam nirikshamananam, yadyapi dwarakaukasam, na vitrupyanti hidrisha, shriyo damangamachutam.
When Lord Krishna passed over the public roads, all the ladies from the respectable families of Dwarka went up to the roofs of their palaces just to have a look up at the Lord. They considered this to be the greatest festival. The inhabitants of Dwarka were regularly accustomed to look upon the reservoir of all beauty, the infallible Lord, yet they were never satiated.
So, Rajamargam gate Krishne, Dwarakaya Kulashriya. As soon as Lord Krishna arrived on the main road of Dwaraka, the women of Dwaraka, overjoyed on seeing him, climbed to the top of the palaces. So in the previous verse it is said that Swayamcha Gurubir Viprai Sa Darai. The Gurus and Vipras brought their wives. The elderly Brahmanas, the elderly family members brought their wives. Otherwise, all the other ladies of Dwaraka remained at home only. None of them came out. And now, understanding that Lord Krishna came onto the main roads, the ladies did not come onto the road. They went to the terraces. And from the terraces, they are looking at Krishna. Overjoyed on seeing him, climbed to the top of the palaces, because the eyes of the inhabitants of Dwaraka could not be satisfied even with constantly gazing upon Achyuta, whose limbs were the abode of beauty. Nityam nirikshamananam yadyapi dwarakaukasam na vitripyanti idrisha sriyo damangam Achyuta. Damangam, Sriyo Damangam means the bodily limbs of Lord Krishna are the abode of beauty. Sriyo Dama, Sriyo means not the woman here, Sriyo means the beauty. Dama means the abode of beauty. The bodily limbs of Lord Krishna are the abodes of beauty. Who would not like to see? And especially the city ladies of Dwaraka. They climbed onto terrace so that they can see, like Lord Krishna walking and the roadside there are terraces. So they can see from behind on the left hand side. And as Krishna passing, they can see, even though Krishna crosses their building and goes ahead, also they could see. So they can have long darshan of Krishna from the top. So with that intention, of course, anyway, they cannot mix with other men on the road. They are inside. So they went to the terraces. They are seeing it. They are seeing the beautiful form of Lord Krishna for a long time. Na vitrupyanti hidrisha. How can one become satisfied by looking at Krishna only for a moment of time? They would like to see Krishna's form continuously. Even though Nityam Nirikshamananam, previously, even though these ladies were seeing Krishna every day. When Krishna was in Dwaraka, they were seeing every day. But now today, because Krishna had come back after many days, They want to have darshan of Krishna for long. So this is the eagerness that the ladies of Dwaraka had. Even in the previous chapter also we saw that when Lord Krishna was leaving Hastinapur, the ladies of Hastinapur climbed on the terraces and there they were expressing their heartfelt feelings towards Lord Krishna by discussing one with another. So this is the glory of Lord Krishna. So taking this as a reference, Prabhupada says that ladies gone to terraces. So Prabhupada says that even in our temples we have terraces, and whenever some festival happen, there will be a lot of people will be climbing on there and they will have festivities being there. So whatever here we see that Krishna is welcomed into Dwaraka. It is a great festival for the Dwaraka Vasis. The same way we celebrate so many festivals in our temples. Since we were not part of these festivities which happened when Krishna was directly present, so we are performing all the festivals to celebrate those festivals again and again. We perform the Brahma ceremony every year, July month. We also perform Pushabhishek. We also perform Sharat Purnima festival. We also perform Janmashtami, Radhashtami, Balram Jayanti, Nityan Trayadashi, and Gaurang, what do we call that? Gaur Purnima, and Ramanavami, Narsingh Chaturthi. All these festivals, because we missed those opportune festivals, we were not there at that time. So now we are having that opportunity, having all these celebrations performed every year. Those people had only once they are celebrated, but we are celebrating them every year. So see the good fortune of devotees. Prabhupada writes, therefore festivities in the temples of the Lord as held generally are like the festivals performed during the manifesto dates of the Lord of Dwaraka about 5,000 years ago. So in that way. Vipraha means Brahmanas. They went to the tops of the palace because their eyes, even gazing at him constantly, were not satisfied. His limbs were the abode of beauty. So that is how the ladies of Dwaraka expressing their attraction towards Lord Krishna. Nice.
The word dham is only not only related to this, can be used for other qualities or like limbs of Lord also.
No. Dhamma, what are the different meanings Dhamma has? They are mentioned in the dictionary, Sanskrit dictionary. If you want, you can refer to that. Dhamma refers to the body. Dhamma refers to the abode also, Vaikuntha abode. Dhamma also refers to the white. Mad Dhamma Parama Mama. Where it comes in the Bhagavad Gita? No, not you, Prabhu. Let him say. Natat Bhashe, so that verse 15:6. Na Shishanko na Pavaka. Edgatva Nivartante Tadhama Paramamma. Dhamma also indicates that Brahmajyoti, the light. It is either Brahmajyoti or Vaikuntha or the personality of Supreme Lord. All the three.
Krishna, Lord Prabhupada says dham appears in the heart of a devotee and gives that.
एक बार heart pure होगा तो धाम appears. Just for the Lord Krishna to come to material world, that Vrindavan itself came down here. If Lord Krishna has to appear within our heart, the whole Vrindavan will come in the heart of the devotee. अभी हमारा हार्ट में बहुत सारा भरा हुआ है. जब ये सब निकल जाएगा तभी वृंदावन आएगा. जब वृंदावन आएगा, Lord Krishna आएगा, all Vrajas will also come. So it is like that. Shriyo nivaso yasyora Panapatram Mukam Drusham Bhavo Lokapalanam Saranganam Padambujam.
The Lord's chest is the abode of the goddess of fortune. His moon-like face is the drinking vessel for eyes, which hanker after all that is beautiful. His arms are the resting places for the administrative demigods. And his lotus feet are the refuge of pure devotees who never talk or sing of any subject except his leadership.
Yeah. In the previous verse, it was mentioned that Sriyo Damanga Machutam. So the different body limbs of the Supreme Lord are the abode of beauty. So what are the different body limbs that attract different personalities in Dwaraka? So that is mentioned in this verse. Sriyo Nivasa Yasyora. Ora means Urasa. Urasa means chest. The chest of the Supreme Lord is the abode of Mother Lakshmi. Mother Lakshmi resides on the chest of Lord Vishnu. And then Mukam Pana Patram. The face of the Supreme Lord is the drinking vessel. So whenever we want to drink something, we need a vessel. In order to drink water, we need a glass. In order to drink soup, we need a bowl. Something like that. So Lord's face is the drinking vessel. Basically, the vessel contains a particular liquid beverage or liquid item. A glass contains the juice or a bowl contains soup. So Lord's face contains the beauty. So beauty is the ingredients to be drunk. And the container is Lord's face. So Lord's face is the container of the transcendental beauty. That beauty has been drunk by all these ladies. So that's why he said that Panam Patram Mukam. Lord's face is the Patra which holds the beauty of Lord Krishna. That beauty is compared to the Pana, means the liquid in that sense. And then Drisham. So for those who are looking at him. Of course, the beauty is there in the face of Krishna. It is only experienced by those who look at him. The soup is there in the bowl. Only if you drink it, if you swallow it, then only you will experience the beauty. If you're in the taste of it, something like that. And then Bahavo Loka Palanam. His arms are the shelter of the protectors of the world. Even the Bhagavatam later on second God is explained that all the devatas are produced from the two hands of Lord Vishnu, the universal form. Because the hands refers to the protection, the function of the protection. The protection of the entire universe is the responsibility of devatas. The devatas will perform their service of protecting the universe only by receiving the strength from the Lord's two hands. They know that whenever they have some problem, whom to take shelter. The devatas fearlessly protecting the world by taking shelter of Lord's two hands. And the important thing is that Saranganam Padambujam. And his lotus feet are the shelter of the bee-like devotees. Saranga is actually a bee. The bees find their fulfillment by getting nectar from a lotus flower. And Saranga also is another name of devotees. The devotees will feel happy when they get shelter at the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. Because there is nectar at the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. So in that way. So Lord's face is a cup full of sweet booty and is the shelter for the eyes. Lord's hands or arms are the shelter for the protectors of the planets such as Indra. Taking shelter of their strength, taking shelter of the strength of the Lord's two hands, the Devatas become fearless of the demons and live comfortably. Devatas will perform their service of protecting the universe and live comfortably because they know the two hands of the Lord will do the needful. In one hand there is Sudarshan Chakra, in the other hand there is Kaumodaki Gada. There is no one can stand in front of these two weapons. So they know that. Saranga can mean those who sing. Ga means to sing. But what do they sing? The glories of the Lord. Saram. Saram means the very essence of all the poetry. That is the glories of the Supreme Lord. Saranga are those who constantly sing the glories of the Supreme Lord. That is devotees. So as a pun, it means a bee which takes shelter of the lotus. Just like the bee takes shelter of a lotus flower to get more and more nectar, especially the honeybee, etc., which creates honey. The devotees take shelter of Lord's lotus feet because that is the place where they get nectar. So this is how the devotees gets attracted to the different bodily limbs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the greatness of his transcendental beauty. The material beauty may attract one for temporary time, but the spiritual beauty of the Supreme Lord can attract one for the rest of eternity. So in that way. So then Sutta Goswami further continues. Sītātapatra vejanairupaśkrutta prasūnavarshairavivārshitāpati pisangavāsā vanamalaya babau gano yatarko vidyuthai.
As the Lord passed along the public road of Dwaraka, his head was protected from the sunshine by a white umbrella. White feathered fans moved in semicircles, and showers of flowers fell upon the road. His yellow garments and garlands of flowers made it appear as if a dark cloud were surrounded simultaneously by sun, moon, lightning, and rainbows.
Yeah. So this is a wonderful analogy, which is very nicely presented in this verse. So one second. Prabhuji, recording is going on.
Yes, sir.
Recording.
If you are recording, make sure devotee know they are being recorded.
Okay. Fine. So, as Lord Krishna was traveling on the main roads, surrounded by Lord Krishna's father, Vasudeva, and mothers, surrounded by all the elderly Brahmanas along with their wives, surrounded by Lord Krishna's gurus, surrounded by Lord Krishna's children, surrounded by Lord Krishna's friends who are of equal age, and also surrounded by the elephants, surrounded by all the singers, dancers, Magada, Vandiga, Suta, Gandharvas, Natas, Nartakas, etc. etc. In addition to them, there are personal attendants of Lord Krishna. So what they are doing? Sita Ata Patra. So one personal attendant of Lord Krishna is holding a white umbrella upon Lord Krishna. Atapatra means umbrella, Sita means white. A white umbrella held upon Lord Krishna. And then Sita Vejanair. Vejana. Huh? Chamara Vejana Visena. Here Vejana is taken as kind of Chamara only. Not the peacock feather one. Generally we say idam Chamara, Yesha Chamara Seva, Yesha Vajana Seva in the Arati. Chamara is for the Chamara, the white hair of the Chamari animal, and Vajana is for the peacock feather. But here the Vajana is taken in the sense of Chamara only. So there are two people on both the sides of Krishna. They are actually weaving across for Krishna. Weaving. They are actually flying. Not flying. What do we say that? Fanning for two reasons. Just to give good hair and also to move away all the bugs and all. Even when every Monday morning, Srila Prabhupada gives Bhagavatam class in the temple. So during that class time, two devotees will be on both the sides. They offer Chamara and Vajana to Prabhupada. Something like that. So, standing behind Krishna, one person is holding a white umbrella. And standing on either side of Krishna, two people are weaving this white Chamara. And then Upashkrita. Prasuna Varsher. Upashkrita Prasuna Varsher. From both the sides, little far distant, they are offering flowers. They are throwing flowers on Krishna. Even from the terraces, they are throwing flowers on Krishna as he was walking. So some of the flowers are falling on Krishna, some of the flowers are falling in front of Krishna, so that Krishna will step on those flowers and move on. Even if you remember, when some guest comes, especially the formal guest comes, there is a red carpet. From the entrance of the building till the dais, there is a red carpet. So something like that. Now they have already decorated, but still when Krishna is coming, they are actually offering flowers on the pathway. Prasuna Varsher, the flowers are falling like a rain. Then Abhivarshita Pati. And then these are all like what others are doing. And in the midst of all these things, how does Krishna look like? Pisanga Vasa. Lord Krishna was wearing the Pitambar clothes, the yellow clothes. And Vanamalaya Babau, he was also wearing a forest flower garland. That flower garland contained different variety, multiple colored flowers, not one color flower. So different flowers are combined together, made a beautiful garden, a beautiful garland. Because they are all prepared by the ladies of the Dwaraka, and some of the guests brought and offered to Lord Krishna immediately when as soon as they entered into the main roads. Vanamalaya babau Gnato Yatarka Udupa. And behind this, the yellow Pitambar dhoti and the forest flower garland, there is a Ghano, there is a cloud. What is the complexion of Lord Krishna? Shama, the newly born monsoon cloud. That is called Ghana. Ghana means cloud. So Lord Krishna's personality is like a cloud which is decorated by remaining all one white umbrella above, two chamras on the both sides, and this pitambar flower, and the flowers are falling down, and pitambar dhoti and garland of forest flowers, and everything how it is looking like, the entire scene looking like Ghana. Lord Krishna Swami is like Ghana, and the white umbrella is like the sun, and the udupa and the both the side the chamaras are like two moons, two white moons, and the garland which is like this around the neck, it is like the two rainbows appearing together on both the sides of Krishna. And then Vaidyuta, the Pitambar cloth appearing to be like the lightning. So this is the beauty of Lord Krishna as he was entering into Dwaraka on the roads, main road. On the main road, furnished with umbrella and chamaras, showered with flowers, wearing yellow cloth with a garland, he appeared to be as a cloud, with the sun, moon, rainbow, and lightning all together. Vidyutam is lightning. A comparison is made between Lord Krishna and a cloud. The umbrella is like the sun, and the weaving of the two chamaras with their circular movements are like two moons. The showers of flowers are like stars. The flowers are being thrown down from the terraces, they are like stars. The flower garland is like the two rainbows. It is a closed garland. So right side one rainbow, left side one more rainbow. And the yellow cloth is like the lightning. So it is astonishing that the sun and the two moons simultaneously shine on a cloud with the stars and two rainbows and stationary lightning coming out of the cloud. This is how the Lord appeared in the midst of all the Dwaraka Vasis as he entering into the Dwaraka. This is the beauty of Sanskrit poetry. The Lord beauty is glorified like this. So later on in third canto also there is such kind of beauty is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. So how it is said, I don't remember exactly. The 2 ears, Lord Krishna's ears are generally compared with the shark-shaped earrings or something like that. With the earrings, both the ears appears to be like two sharks, but there in the terminology they are considered to be like two fishes. And the Lord's 2 eyes are like the 2 lotuses. Or the Lord's entire face is like the 2 lotus, a beautiful lotus. And there are 2 fishes are trying to taste the beauty of the lotus, and all the hair that is there on the head of Lord Vishnu are like the swarming bees. Those are the bees which are flying on top of the lotus flower to extract the nectar. So like that, the beauty of the Lord is explained in the 3rd canto 9th chapter, 9th or 8th chapter, I think. Yeah. So at many places in the Bhagavatam, so the beauty of the Supreme Lord is explained in terms of those things we can experience in our daily life. We can have the experience of a lotus flower, lotus garden, and also the fishes, and this kind of things like a cloud In the rainy season, we see that the two clouds come together and hit each other. There is a lightning stroke. And when as soon as the rain is over, our rain is about to start, we see one side sun, one side moon. There is a rainbow in the sky. And when during the sunset time, in the mountain, there are mountains. Just above the mountain, there is a cloud, and sun is setting, and other side the moon is there. There you see the cloud is very bright. All the other clouds which are very far, they are very dark. But that portion of the cloud which is toward the sun, it is white. So like this, so many things we have, we go through in our daily existence. So they are all taken into consideration to explain how does the beauty of the Supreme Lord as he entering into Dwaraka. So that actually we can guess what kind of beauty is that. So in that way. Generally there won't be two moons and there won't be two rainbows. There is only one moon and one rainbow. But in the case of Krishna, anything can happen. So it is like that. So now Sutta Goswami continues. And then like this, with this beauty that being seen by everyone in Dwaraka, Lord Krishna goes ahead. Pravishtastu gruham pitro parishvakta swamatrubhi vavande sirasa sapta devaki pramukha muda.
After entering the house of his father, he was embraced by the mothers present, and the Lord offered his obeisances unto them by placing his head at their feet. The mothers were headed by Devaki, his real mother.
So, whether some of Krishna's mothers came to outskirt or not, but finally, Lord Krishna reached the house of Vasudeva. So Krishna entered into the house of Vasudeva. Entering the house of his parents, embraced by 7 mothers, headed by Devaki, Lord Krishna offered respects with his head to them. So Lord Krishna was already received by Vasudeva. Lord Krishna already offered obeisances to Vasudeva. They are at the outskirts only. Now having entered into the inner chambers of Vasudeva, the 7 mothers are mentioned here. So Lord Krishna offered obeisances to all 7 of them. Because though Devaki is his own mother, but others also treated by Krishna as mothers. This is mentioned to show that he greatly respected the 7 mothers because they were sisters of his mother Devaki. So actually, Vasudeva had 17 wives. Out of 17, 7 were sisters, the daughters of the same father, Devaka. Devaki and all his sisters, they are married together. We read in the 10th canto Bhagavatam that Devaki marriage only. That during that marriage, not only Devaki was married to Vasudeva, other 6 sisters are also married to Vasudeva. So Vasudeva married at one go all the 7 sisters of 7 daughters of Devaka. So their names are Dritadeva, Shantideva, Upadeva, Devara, Devarakshita, Sahadeva, Srideva, and Devaki. These are the 7 daughters of Devaka who were married to Vasudeva together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In addition to these 7 wives, Vasudeva had 10 more, but their names are not given. Some names I have got from 10th canto or 9th canto, I put it here. Pauravi, Rohini, Bhadra, Madira, Rochana, and Ila. So these are all some of other wives of Vasudeva. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 plus 6, 13. So 4 more names are not mentioned here. So like that, Vasudeva had in total 17 wives. So it is like that. So here at least the 7 mothers means the 7 sisters along with Devaki. They are all offered obeisances by Krishna, and others also, whether they might be there at that time or not, we don't know. But at least for 7, he immediately offered obeisances. So Vasudeva actually had 18 wives, and Lord Krishna offered respects to all of them as his mothers. According to Shastra, there are 7 mothers. So Prabhupada writes in the purport. So these are all married, but even without marriage, we need to respect 7 other little ladies as one's own mother. They are the 7 mothers are one's own mother, should be offered respects. The wife of one's Guru, Guru Mata. When the student goes to Gurukul, it is the wife of Guru only takes care of the students. She only provides food and other things for the children. Wife of a Brahmana. Hare Krishna, devotees kindly mute. If at all you want to ask something, you can unmute. Wife of a Brahmana. Even the Brahmana's wife also should be treated as one's own mother. And the wife of the king. King is the father and the wife of the king is mother. The cow should be treated as one's own mother. In the recent, in the last couple of months back, I had one Bhagavatam class. There, the why cows are to be protected. I mentioned one point that we drink mother's milk only for 1 year, but our rest of life we depend upon the milk of cow. So cow is mother for us. So in that way, and the nurse. So here, of course, in the modern context, Prabhupada translates it as nurse. But in the Vedic context, it is like, especially in relation to the kings, there are so many. When a girl is married to a king, when the princess is married to a king, the princess will accompany with so many her friends. So they also will be there along with that queen for the rest of eternity. They are all like treated very close friends of the queen. But the queen's children will be taken care by them. Queen also will be taken care by them, and queen's children will be taken care by them. They are all called as Datri. So in that way. And finally, the Mother Earth. Mother Earth nourishes us from the beginning of our birth till the last moment. So she is also mother. So in that way. So like this, Lord Krishna offered respects to all his mothers.
So this Kashyap Muni is also 17 wife. No?
Yes.
So
He also had
is there
some.
any connection because these all 17 wife is like that?
You find out if there is some connection. Hare Krishna. Yes, bro.
Dhatris are also married or not?
I don't know exactly, but some references we see that they are also married. At some other places we see that they are not married. So both references I have read in Rama Mahabharata. So, but we read from Rama and Mahabharata that they are not mistreated. They are all respected. They never exploited or they are never mistreated by anyone. They are there along with the queen. So if they are married, of course they have their own families, but throughout the day they will be with the queen and taking care of the queen's requirement and all that, etc. So that is there. So both
Prabhuji,
examples.
Manthara was a Dhatri. Manthara.
Manthara came along with Kaikeyi. Yeah, something like that. Of course, there are many examples like that. Even here, if you see, what are the examples? I would say that even teachings of Lord Kapila, we were recently doing in the other Bhakti Vaibhav Saturday evening. So, if for the pleasure of Devahuti, Kardamuni created one aerial mansion. Then he also created 1,000 ladies who are like Apsaras. So afterwards, Kardama left and Lord Kapila was also left. But those ladies were there along with Devahuti. They were taking care of Devahuti as long as Devahuti was living there. So like that, they will be there for the rest of their life serving them. And there is a pastime in the 9th canto. So there, because of some unforeseen circumstances, at one point of time, Sharmishta, who was the daughter of a king, and she had a friend Devayani, who was the daughter of a Brahmani.
Shukracharya.
In the sense, Brahmana here. So at one time, they both of them had a conflict because they bathed in the lake, and one Sharmishta wore the clothes of Devayani. And Devayani said, how can you do that? I'm a Brahmana girl and you, how can you wear and touch my clothes? Something like that. Sharmishta becomes angry and throws her in a well. And eventually, no one rescued her. She was in the well only. She was crying and all. Hearing those crying sounds, Ayati Maharaj comes there and understands what had happened. He gives his own clothes and lifts her up. And Devayani said that I want to marry you. Something like that. So then what he can do? He said, no, you are a Brahmana girl and I am a Kshatriya person. Then she said that, no. I meant to marry a Kshatriya. That is my destiny. So please marry me. So she informs father what had happened. At that time during the marriage, the Shukracharya puts a condition that I want your daughter go along with my daughter as a maid servant, as a kind of assistant, and also some other girls. So Devayani went along with Ayati, followed by Sharmishta and many other ladies. That time Shukracharya puts a condition to Ayati. So never ever marry this Sharmishta because she is a Kshatriya girl. So she can create situations in such a way that you are supposed to marry her, but never ever marry her, something like that. So that is a condition. Even though they are there along with them, whether they are married or not individually, but sometimes they are exploited and many times they are not. They are just respectfully treated. They are only in the ladies' chamber. They never get into the men's chamber. They are treated very separately. Even in the case of Mahabharata, you see, this Ajnatavas episode, Draupadi was acting like a Sairandri. She was like the servant who will be taking care of the hair braiding of, what is her name? The wife of Virat Raj. She was the personal attendant of that lady, the mother of Uttara. But eventually, her brother, Kichak, he put an eye on her. So, but she said, Draupadi said that I'm already married. I have my 5 husbands who are Gandharvas. They are very powerful. I cannot go to anybody, something like that. So, all of them are already. So, there are examples like that. They are married also. It is not that they are not married. So, that kind of understanding we can have. Are other devotees are able to follow?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So we'll continue. Ta putra mankamaropya snehastutapayodara harsha vivalitatmana shishur netrajair.
The mothers, after embracing their son, sat him on their laps. Due to pure affection, milk sprang from their breasts. They were overwhelmed with delight, and the tears from their eyes wetted the Lord.
Yeah. Here is one interesting reciprocation. All the 7 mothers received the obeisance of Lord Krishna. Eventually, they made Krishna to sit on their laps. And then these are mothers, like very, very old. This is the time after Mahabharat battle. At this point of time, Lord Krishna himself is 90 years old. Then think of how much old the mothers are. And they are keeping Krishna on their lap. And they are, by that affection, the milk is flowing from their breasts. It is mentioned like this. So, one interesting thing is that in our vicinity, when we see people as they grow older and older, we see the transformation in their bodily structure. People become old, white hair, and so many things are there. But in the case of Krishna, he never grows beyond the youthful age. Santam Vayasi Kaishore. Whatever may be the age of Krishna, he will always look like a 16-year-old boy. Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yavvanamcha. Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu always appears a new youthful boy. So for mothers, they are not looking at the age. For them, Krishna is just a 16-year-old boy. there is no need to worry, no shame, no shyness. Sorry to say that shame, but no shyness to keep Krishna on their laps. He's looking like a small boy only, even today, after, in spite of being grown up to 90 years. So they happily kept him on their laps, and they are expressing their affection for Krishna by kissing on his head, etc., etc. So then the milk was flowing from their breasts. So it is like that. अताविशस्व भवनं सर्वकामानुत्तमं प्रसादायत्र पत्नीनां सहस्राणि च षोडश.
Thereafter, the Lord entered his palaces, which were perfect to the fullest extent. His wives lived in them, and they numbered over 16,000.
See here, you see, at the outskirts, Krishna was received by all the men, the Brahmanas, and all other village men, the township town men, and all the singers, dancers, the dramatic performers, and everyone received Krishna. As Krishna was going through the main roads, all the household ladies received Krishna. Then Krishna entered into the house of his father. All his mothers received Krishna. Finally, Krishna enters into his own homes, where his queens are situated. Because the queens did not come out. His sons came out. Krishna's sons like Charudeshna, Samba, and Radyumna, they all came out to receive Krishna. But none of the queens came out. So now, starting from this verse, and all the remaining verse talks about the queens only. Lord Krishna then entered his own incomparable quarters, which satisfied all desires. It is mentioned that Sarva Kama Anuttamam. The palaces themselves fulfill all one's desires. Where there were 16,108 palaces for his queens. Lord Krishna married in total 16,108 queens. So here it is mentioned that Shodasha Sahasrani, that clearly indicates 16,000. The word Chai is used to indicate the additional 108 queens. So for each and every queen, Lord Krishna constructed one palace. So he entered in. Till now there was only one Krishna. Starting from the entrance of the Dwaraka all the way up to the main entrance of the palaces, there is only one Krishna. But now that one Krishna expanded into 16,108 forms. Now one Krishna entering into one palace. So now the reciprocation of the queens of Lord Krishna. Patnya patim proksha gruhanupagatam vilokya sanjata mano mahostava utasturarat sasanasayat sakam vratervidita lochananana.
The queens of Lord Sri Krishna rejoiced within their minds to see their husband home after a long period abroad. The queens got up at once from their seats and meditations. As was socially customary, they covered their faces shyly and looked about coyly.
Seeing from a distance their husband arrive after long absence. As we discussed previously, Lord Krishna went to Upaplavya, when both Arjuna and Duryodhana came to seek the help of Lord Krishna. After that incident, Krishna went to Upaplavya. From there, he went to Hastinapura, Shantiduta, then Kurukshetra battle, then Hastinapur, then again Kurukshetra to hear from Bhishma, then again Hastinapur, staying there for some time. Now, at the end, he has come here. Seeing Lord Krishna from a distance, arriving after long absence with great desire, in their minds, with bent heads and shy glances, they quickly rose from their seats and their minds along with their penances. As soon as they heard the entry of Lord Krishna in their palace, they are in their inner chambers performing some kind of vrata. Immediately they got up from their vrata along with the performance of their vrata in order to welcome or in order to see Lord Krishna. So that was the thing it is mentioned here. Lord Krishna entered each of the palaces of the queens simultaneously in many forms. When each queen saw him, they thought, Lord Krishna, come to me first. They don't know that Lord Krishna entered into each palace. Every queen thought that he has come to me only. This verse describes the reaction of the queens. So as soon as they thought that, wow, Krishna has come to my palace first, he did not go to the other palaces. That means I am the most loving wife of Lord Krishna. That is not that. So as soon as they understood that Lord Krishna come to their palace first, their minds became filled with great joy. Sanjata Mano Mahostava. There was the appearance of a great festival in the hearts of these queens. As soon as they thought that, okay, Krishna came to me only first. This is their initial desire. Then they rose from their seat and from their heart. So till now, they were seated on a seat in front of their household deity, and they are performing a particular vrata. In the core of the heart, they are thinking about Krishna, or they are thinking about their household deity, Lord Narayana, or something like that. So then they got up. Physically, their body got up from the asana, and mentally they got up from their mind. Till now, their mind is in deep meditation, either meditating Krishna or meditating their household deity, Lord Narayana, or whatever it is. They got up. Then they glanced at him from the sides of their eyes with bent heads. Vridita Lochana Anana. Vrida means shyness. So the queens cannot directly glance at husband. So that is not the culture. In the past, the ladies always look in the sidelong glances. So here what they are doing, even though after long separation they are get to see Krishna, but they cannot see him with open eyes. They put their head bent down and with sidelong glances they are looking, so that others will not understand that they are looking at Krishna. Something like that. This means they first gave up their seats to embrace their Lord. As soon as Lord Krishna entered into their palace, they thought of embracing him immediately. But being cultured ladies, they did not do that. So they want to embrace using their body. They want to get up and ran to Krishna and embrace him. But they did not do. They then noticed an obstacle in the form of their bashfulness. They thought that what Krishna will think, what others will think. So they just stood up from the seat. They therefore gave up their minds, which were the dwelling place of the bashfulness, and embraced him with their souls in the core of the heart. They completely overlooked their bodies and minds. So the body, I mean, they just got up. They wanted to go, ran to Krishna and embrace him, but they thought, oh, it is not a good culture. Their mind is thinking about whether do it or not. But within the deep within the core of the heart, they embraced Lord Krishna. Within the core, instead of embracing him personally, but by looking at Krishna, they embraced Lord Krishna within the core of their heart. The next verse goes into more details. How did they embrace? When they saw Lord Krishna, the Lord Krishna's form entered into their eyes. Through their eyes, that form went into the heart of the queens. Then in the heart, they embraced Krishna. So like that. Seeing their beloved embracing with their sidelong glances, suddenly they fainted out of bliss of prema, arising from the desire to touch him. They want to touch Krishna physically, but they cannot do out of shy. But as soon as Krishna entering through their glances, entering their heart, when they embraced Krishna, they immediately fainted. Because they could embrace Lord Krishna after a long time. So because of fainting, as with the deep sleep and due to as if loss of consciousness, there is no obstruction of mind. So now the thing is that in a normal vision, if they embrace, somebody might come, then they have to give up that embrace. But it is happening in the core of the heart. As soon as they embraced, they entered into the unconscious state. Now there is no obstacle only. They can continue to embrace in that unconscious state as long as they want. So this is the reciprocation the queens are showing to Lord Krishna. So that is about, this is how the queens receive Lord Krishna. who came home after a long time. So on the other side, some of the cultural aspects. So they are mentioned. Prabhupada writes very nicely about them in the purport. But there is a verse quoted here by Yajnavalkya. He talks about the vratas. Kridam Sharira Samskaram Sama Jostava Darshanam. The verse is not there in the purport, but the own translation is there. Hasyam Paragrihe Yanam Tyajet Proshita Bhatrika. In the absence from one's husband, the wife should give up recreation, cleaning the body. Basically, cleaning the body means decorating the body, seeing festivals in society, laughing, and going to other houses. When the husband is not at home, so this is the vrata should be followed by a wife. And now all the 16,000 queens are following this during the absence of Lord Krishna. And as soon as Krishna came, so they kind of completed their vrata. So as long as Krishna was out of town, they did not do all these things. They rose along with their vratas, though it was improper for them to be seen by their husband in a state of vrata. Because during vrata, it is one of the important aspects of vrata is not cleansing the body. Basically, they should not bathe with aromatic herbs and decorate with nice clothes. So they should be in the plain, simple clothes. So in that state, they should not come in front of the husband. Generally, the queen are always nicely decorated. If you see in the dramas, the king and queen are opulently decorated. They don't come like with plain clothes. So here now currently, since they are performing vrata, they are in plain clothes. But suddenly Krishna came, unannouncing. So they suddenly they don't know what to do. But since Krishna came, they stopped their vrata, immediately stood up, and it kind of like there's the inner room. Inside the room there is a door, and they did not come out of the room. They're standing behind the door. From the side they are looking how Krishna, something like that. We see the pictures of small kids, how they look, the parents from standing behind the wall, etc. Something like that. So though it was improper for them to be seen by their husband in a state of vrata, because they could not suddenly give up those vratas, they rose along with their vratas. Seeing them in an unkempt state because of separation, the Lord became more affectionate to them. Even though they are not worried that they need to go and take bath and wear decorative clothes and come in front of Krishna, they immediately kind of looking at Krishna, not looking at Krishna. And Lord Krishna was understood. They are in the pain of separation. That they can't even wait anymore. Same thing we can see in Ramayana also. After the death of Ravana, when Hanumanji was sent to Mother Sita to give the message that Ravana was killed, then Vibhishana goes there with all his maid servants, many of the maid servants, to make Mother Sita bathe and decorate herself very nicely, etc., giving new decorative clothes. Mother Sita says, no, I don't want all this in this. First of all, I want to see Lord Ram. But on the insistence of Vibhishan, Mother Sita bathes and goes. So it is like that. Something like that.
Krishna announced like doing this concert.
So the queens did not hear or what? Like that you are saying? So they are in the inner chambers. The palace itself having hundreds of rooms, and they are inside their deity room. वहां तक पहुंचा के पता नहीं. They were in the living room. They are eating their food and all. The living room is close to main entrance. These are the inner chamber. They are not supposed to come out. That is the custom. Nowadays we don't see that, but these are followed in the past very strictly. So there are many things out there. Vihara issue, they should not go on recreation, they should not go out. Actually, the ladies should not come out, they will not come out of their home without the husband. It is general custom that whenever they go for any function, the wife and husband go together. It is not that one will go alone, ever. So it is like that. तमात्मजैर्दृशिभिरन्तरात्मना दुरन्तभावा परिरेभिरेपतिम् निरुद्धमपि आश्रवदम्बुनेत्रयोर् विलज्जतीनां भृगुवर्य वैक्लवात्.
The
The insufferable ecstasy was so strong that the queens who were shy first embraced the Lord in their innermost recesses of their hearts. Then they embraced him visually, and then they sent their sons to embrace him, which is equal to personal embracing. But, O chief among the Brigus, though they tried to restrain their feelings, they inadvertently shed tears.
Yeah. So, like the previous verse further continues. What all happened there? What's happening there? The queens first embrace the Lord with their eyes. As soon as they saw Krishna, they embrace the Lord with their eyes, full of desire. And then they embraced with their subtle bodies so that no one could see. If they personally go and embrace, everyone will see whoever came along with Krishna. But now, they saw with their eyes, then Krishna entered into their heart. There they embraced with their subtle body so that no one could see. O chief among us the Bhrigus, though they tried to restrain their tears because of the embracement, they inadvertently shed some tears. Because they get to embrace Lord Krishna after so many months. So they suddenly the tears came out. But the downpouring tears is not auspicious. Generally it is said not like that. So they want to stop the tears, but still the tears are coming out. So it is like that. This verse describes how they embraced Lord Krishna in spite of the obstacles of their shyness. Atmajai refers to Cupid born of the mind or conjugal desire. They saw him with intense desire. So here one understanding of Atmajai is Cupid, another meaning of Atmajai is sons. So but of course Prabhupada translated the sons. If you see, at this point of time Lord Krishna is 90 years old. Lord Krishna married immediately at the age of 25, immediately after moving from Mathura to Dwaraka. Lord Krishna's marriage happened very quickly. So 90 minus 25, how many years? 90 minus 25, 65. So Lord Krishna's sons might be about 60 years old now. So sending their sons to embrace may not be appropriate thing at this time. Generally the mothers who have the small kids, they send the children, go and embrace your father. So the children will be embrace the father first. The children comes to the mother and mother embraces them. The children. It is as good as the embracing the husband. Because in the presence of all the family members, it is not good that a wife embraces husband. So instead, the wife sends the children, small children. They will be embraced by the father, and the children eventually comes to mother. Then mother embraces the children. So something like that. This is how the generally they follow. So of course, Prabhupada is taking that analogy. Of course, see if you see in that context that okay, if they had small children, okay, that is okay. But children already must have grown up. At this point of time, Lord Krishna had grandchildren, great grandchildren also. His family is so big. In 10th canto, we see that. So Lord Krishna had 10 sons and one daughter through every wife. So 11 children into 16,108. And after their marriage, they also begot 10 children. So like that is a huge family. So no one can imagine how big family is that. So that is Lord Krishna's family. So here one meaning of Atmajaya means Cupid. Cupid means so who inspires that conjugal rasa between the wife and husband. So it says that first they embraced him with their eyes filled with desire. This is the enjoyment through the eyes. Having him enter within the holes of the eyes, they embraced him with their subtle bodies. Antaratmana. The Lord Krishna entered into their heart. There they embraced him with their subtle body and also with their soul. Because they did not want others to understand what they were doing. So they don't want to do it in front of everyone. So because Krishna might have accompanied with so many other friends as he entered into the palace. So they don't want to see others that me embracing Krishna. So they accepted Krishna within their core of heart. In the core of the heart, they are embracing. This method of women in love is described later in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 32nd chapter. So in the Rasa Panchadhyay, so Lord Krishna playing the flute on the Sharat Purnima night invited all the gopis. After the gopis came, Krishna chastised them. What kind of women are you? By giving up your family members, you came to the dead of the night in the forest. For what purpose you came here? Go home. Like that, Krishna chastised them. And they said, you call us and tell us to go home? What kind of cheater are you? Something like that. Then they start Raslila, dancing. Then Krishna disappears. And after a long time, Krishna again appears. So when Krishna appeared, looking at Krishna, some of them went very close to Krishna, some of them were embraced Krishna, some of them were standing next to Krishna, etc. etc. But some who could not go to Krishna, what they are doing? One gopi took the Lord through the aperture of our eyes and placed him within her heart. So just looking Krishna from far distance, some of the gopis accepted Krishna through their eyes and took him to their heart. And in the core of their heart, then with her eyes closed. So after Krishna entered into her eyes, they closed eyes. So now Krishna is inside their eyes and eventually will be taken to the heart. And with her bodily hair standing on hand, she continuously embraced him within. This impressed in transcendental ecstasy. Thus impressed in transcendental ecstasy, she resembled a yogi meditating upon the Lord. Just like yogis enter into samadhi and meditate in Paramatma, and these gopis saw Krishna, close their eyes and continue to embrace Lord Krishna in their heart. So something like that. So this is how they are exchanging their love with Krishna. But seeing that their most clever husband understood what they were doing, they became embarrassed. And though they stopped the tears from flowing in their eyes, some tears flowed anyway beyond their control. Oh, best of the Bhrugu dynasty. So they saw Krishna, they took Krishna through their eyes. Krishna is in the heart, they are embracing Krishna. After that, they fainted, and then their eyes were downpouring so many tears. So they thought that, oh, Krishna might understand what we are doing by looking at this downpour of the tears. They wanted to stop the tears, but they could not stop. So anyway, some of the tears came out. So this is how the queens of Krishna were reciprocating with Lord Krishna's love. So then Sutta Goswami further continues. Yadyapi asau parshvagato raho gatas tatapi tasyangri yugam navam pade pade ka virameta tatpadat chalapi yashrirna jahati karhichit.
Although Lord Sri Krishna was constantly by their sides, as well as exclusively alone, his feet appeared to them to be newer and newer. The goddess of fortune, although by nature always restless and moving, could not quit the Lord's feet. So, what woman can be detached from those feet, having once taken shelter of them?
Even though Lord Krishna was there along with them since the time of their marriage for the last 60 years, yeah, but still for them Krishna appears to be very new every time. That concept is being mentioned in this verse. Though Krishna's feet were next to them since the time of their marriage, those feet appeared more and more beautiful at every moment. Yadyapi aso parshagato rahogatas tatapi tasyangri yugam navam. Even though they were in the constant association of Krishna from the time of their marriage, at least in this manifest Leela, but these are like eternal concepts of Lord Krishna. They are there always Lord Krishna for the rest of eternity, since time immemorial. But still at every moment, the feet of Lord Krishna appears to be newer and newer. Which woman could give up those feet which Lakshmi never gives up? Mother Lakshmi never becomes tired of serving Lord Vishnu by massaging his feet. She is always there. Even though one name of Mother Lakshmi is Chanchala. Even though being Chanchala, she never gives up the service of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. How can the queens of Lord Krishna give up their attraction towards Lord Krishna's lotus feet? So like that. At every moment, the feet appeared newer and newer to them. If Lakshmi, who is fickle in nature, the embodiment of all beauty, finds those feet ever fresh, then what to speak of anyone else being able to give them up? Who can give up? If Mother Lakshmi, who is fickle by nature, cannot give up the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, how can these queens who are naturally attracted to the lotus feet can give up? So, in this way, only those people who are not attracted to the lotus feet, they give up. Others do not. In that way. एवं नृपाणां क्षितिपारजन्मनाम् अक्षौहिणीभिः परिवृत्त तेजसां विदाय वैरं शशनो यतानलाम् मितो वदेनो परतो निरायुधा.
The Lord was pacified after those kings who were burdensome to the earth. They were puffed up with their military strength, their horses, elephants, chariots, infantry, etc. He himself was not a party in the fight. He simply created hostility between the powerful administrators, and they fought amongst themselves. He was like the wind, which causes friction between bamboos and so sparks a fire.
Here, another important aspect of Krishna is mentioned. Why Krishna comes to this material world? Paritrayana sadhunam.
Sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam.
That is the responsibility of Vishnu, not that of Krishna. Lord Krishna comes to this material world only to perform pastimes in relation to his devotees. Killing the demons are all responsibility of Vishnu, not Krishna's. So keeping that in mind, this verse is being spoken. The Lord, without weapons, by creating enmity between kings who are powerful with armies, who had created a burden on the earth, destroyed them by having them kill each other, just as the wind, by creating friction between bamboos, destroys them by fire. So as Krishna, after birth, having gone to Gokul, there he was killing the demons one by one, every day. Every day Kamsa would send some demon and Krishna would kill them. Eventually came to Madura, killed Kamsa and his brothers. Eventually Jarasandha waged war against Lord Krishna for 17 times like that. And eventually Lord Krishna killed Kala Yavana and some other demons here and there and there. And then during Rashtra sacrifice with the help of Bhima, Lord Krishna killed Jarasandha. All these things happened. So Lord Krishna was fighting quite many times with many demons personally. But at one point of time, he also became bored. और कितना time लड़ते रहने का? There are so many demons here and there spread all over the world. So Lord Krishna made a plan in such a way that instead of me going to each and every kingdom and fighting with all the Asuric kings, so by allowing the gambling match to take place, Lord Krishna created enmity among the kings. So eventually in the Kurukshetra battle, all the demonic kings on the surface of the earth, they all assembled together. And whoever came to Kurukshetra, no one went back home. Everyone died on the battlefield. So that aspect is given here. Just like a forest filled with so many bamboos, which are overburdening the earth, if they are supposed to be cut down, how long it will take to cut them down? A forest filled with thousands of bamboo trees, if you start cutting one after the other, it will take years. But just by creating a gush of wind, because of that gush of wind, there is a friction between the two bamboos. Then there is a fire, spark, that will cause a forest fire and burning will take place within half day. Everything is done. Within half day, everything is gone. So Krishna thought like that. Instead of going to each and every kingdom month after month and battling with them, killing them. So this one Kurukshetra battle, all the demonic kings are killed at one go. So that he can save time to spend time with his wives. So those 14 years when Pandavas in Vanavas, after Pandavas became victorious after the Kurukshetra battle, there was no need for Krishna to go here and there and fight with anybody. It's like not required. Till the time of Raju sacrifice, Krishna was fighting with different demons. After Raju sacrifice, there was no fight again. Now Krishna's life is only just to perform sweet pastimes with his intimate devotees. So that aspect is mentioned here. In order to express the unimpeded nature of his love for the queens, another type of activity lacking that excitement is described. Just as wind produces fire by rubbing the bamboos together and then destroys them by burning, the Lord without weapons, by creating enmity between kings who were powerful with their vast armies and who created a burden for the earth, destroyed them by having them kill each other. So Lord Krishna knew it, already planned for it. When Lord Krishna went to, after Ayushakra immediately went to Dwaraka to kill Shalva, then he went to Madura to kill Vidurata and Dantavakra, then he went to Vrindavan, spent there 2 months, married all the gopis, sent all the Vrajavasis to spiritual world. Then Lord Krishna took a vow that Asar Sannyas, now onwards I will not use any weapon. That was the vow Lord Krishna took then. Because he understood that gambling match already happened, Pandavas went to forest. This so already sowed the seed for the great battle. In that battle, rest all will be killed. So I don't have to worry about fighting anymore. So he had a taken vow that I will never lift a weapon from now on. That time. So today in the morning Bhagavatam class, whoever heard, so Bhishma made that vow to be broken by Lord Krishna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So it is like that. So then, by creating a natural enmity between Kauravas and Pandavas, so Lord Krishna kind of postponed that activity of killing all the demonic kings for 13 years. So in those 13 years, Lord Krishna stayed in Dwaraka and did not go anywhere. So now he went to Hastinapur and Kurukshetra, this battle happened and he came back. Then for the next 35 years also Lord Krishna did not go anywhere. He was there with the Dwaraka Vasis continuously, performing his wonderful sweet pastimes along with them. So in that way. Unimpeded or uninterrupted pastimes. So in that way you can see. Saeshanar lokesmin avatirna swamayaya reme Sri Ratna Kutasto Bhagavan Prakruto Yata.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, out of his costless mercy, appeared on this planet by his internal potency and enjoyed himself amongst competent women as if he were engaging in mundane affairs.
So by causing a war or by sowing a seed for the battle during the gambling match, what did Lord Krishna do? Having appeared on this earth, the Lord enjoyed among the best of women, Sri Ratna, it is mentioned here, by expanding himself through his Yogamaya according to his nature. So there are 16,108 queens. Lord Krishna expanded to that many forms and he was spending his time with all the queens every day, day in, day out. For those 13 years during which Pandavas were in Vanavas and Ajnatavas, and the remaining 35 years as Pandavas were ruling the entire earth. So in that way. By his Yogamaya, he resided with each of his many wives by expanding his form into many. Thus, according to his nature, the Lord enjoys. The causes of the Lord's enjoyment, the desire to enjoy, and the activities of enjoyment are all beyond the material gunas because the Lord is not material. So one may, by reading these verses of this chapter, one may say that what is this? Lord Krishna is interested in this material happiness, the household happiness. What kind of Lord is he? So the cause of Lord's enjoyment, the desire to enjoy whether it is with the queens or with Lord Krishna, and the activities of enjoyment and also any other things, they are all beyond material gunas. They are nothing to do with the material nature. And this particular tattva will be established in the remaining 4-5 verses. The rest of the chapter talks about Lord Krishna's household affairs are not the household affairs of the materialists. They are completely transcendental. Because Lord Krishna transcendental, all his wives are transcendental. Lord Krishna simply displaying his eternal pastime that will happen in the Dwaraka, spiritual Dwaraka, is showing here. That's all. He is continuing to enact those pastimes that he eternally performs in Dwaraka. Here. These are nothing to, all these pastimes are nothing to do with material world. This tattva will be established in the next 4-5 verses. So it is like that. Udama bhava pishuna malavalguhasa क्रीडावलोकनिहतो मदनोऽपि आसाम् सम्मुह्य चापमजत् प्रमुदोत्तमास्ता यस्येन्द्रियं विमोहितुं कवकैर्न शेकुः.
Although the queen's beautiful smiles and furtive glances were all spotless and exciting, and although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give up his bow in frustration, and although even the tolerant Shiva could fall victim to them, still, despite all their magical feats and attractions, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord.
Yeah. This verse gives an example that generally the attraction between male and female in this material world is due to the influence of Cupid. But when it comes to the attraction between Lord Krishna and his queens, the Cupid has nothing to do with that. That is shown in this world, in this verse. Although the queen's beautiful smiles and furtive glances were all spotless and exciting and signified deep love, and although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give up his bow in frustration, those who approached him with false smiles and glances could not agitate the senses of the Lord. So there are two categories of devotees in Madhurya Rasa. Some of them are naturally endowed with pure love for Krishna. They will be attracted by Krishna and Krishna will be attracted by their love. And for those category of devotees who do not have pure love, but who simply want to attract Lord Krishna with their false smiles and false glances, such kind of people will not attract Krishna. Such kind of comparison is shown in this verse. How can Lord Krishna be beyond matter when he enjoys sense objects with his senses? How can Lord Krishna, who is enjoying in household affairs, engaged in household affairs, not with one wife but with 16,108 wives, how can you say that he is transcendental? So this verse and the future verses give an example how he is transcendental. So this verse says that with their pure beautiful smiles, amala valgu hasa. Amala means without any contamination. Valgu hasa means beautiful smiles. And bashful glances, vridita avaloka. Avaloka means to look at, to glance. Vrida means shyness. So bashful glances, indicating deep prema, uddama bhava. So bhava and prema are the final stages of bhakti, directed towards Lord Krishna, which arose from their own pain of love. They defeated Cupid. Even though in the material world, the loving dealings are enhanced by the influence of Cupid, but in the case of the queens of Lord Krishna, they have natural affection for Krishna, and their expression of their natural affection for Krishna defeats Cupid. Even though Cupid comes there, he will not do anything. He will not be able to do anything. So the story, the understanding is said like this. Cupid first considered, hey, they are glancing at their beloved Krishna with desires without even being struck by my arrows. Cupid is thinking like this. Then Cupid became struck with wonder on seeing Krishna's sweetness. So here generally in the material world, when Cupid throws the arrows, the men become attracted to women, women become attracted to men, etc. will happen. But in the case of queens, so without being attacked by the arrows of Cupid, they are naturally expressing their affection for Krishna. And by then Krishna saw at Krishna, Cupid saw at Krishna. Then Cupid himself became attracted to the beauty of Krishna. Then it says that the material Cupid who had come to bewilder Lord Krishna himself became bewildered and threw down his bow and went away. So it is like that. In the presence of their arched bow-like eyebrows and the arrows of their bashful glances, what is the use of my bow and arrows? Thus Cupid gave them up. Though they were the best of women, they could not disturb his senses with their beautiful smiles and glances endowed with deception to bring him under control. However, if those glances were endowed with prema, when they could disturb his senses. Because they did possess the proper type of love, their glances and smiles were certainly endowed with prema, though it was conjugal prema. They are described in the verse having prema, and others are described having deception. So there are two kinds of the ladies were described. All the queens of Lord Krishna are naturally endowed with love and affection for Krishna, so they could attract Lord Krishna's glances. But others who try to imitate like this, they could not agitate Lord Krishna. So even if you remember, so some of the ladies in Hastinapur and some of the ladies in Dwaraka, they are also attracted to Lord Krishna's beauty. Even though they might have developed that conjugal feelings, but none of them attracted Lord Krishna. They are attracted by Krishna. So, but the queens have natural love for Krishna, so Krishna is attracted by them. So in that way. So in the first case, though the Lord is under the control of his wife, the Lord is still beyond Prakriti and the gunas of matter, because he is under the control of prema, which is a function of the Chit Shakti. And because their glances and smiles are composed of prema, the love that appears in them and the pastimes of love that arise from that love are all spiritual. So that the dealings between the Lord Krishna and his queens, they are all spiritual. They have nothing to do with material qualities. It is therefore impossible to say that the Lord has enjoyed the Lord has the enjoyment of material sense objects, such as material sound and touch. So it is not like that. The queens are completely spiritual. Lord Krishna is completely spiritual, and their activities are also completely spiritual. They have no tinge of any materialism that is being presented here. And in the second case, because it is impossible for a person without prema to control the Lord, the verse says that his senses cannot at all be disturbed by deception. Therefore, the previous statement, Reme Sri Ratna Kutasto Bhagavan Prakruto Yata, cannot mean that the Lord is attracted to material enjoyment. Instead, one should not say that the queens are material if sometimes their love-filled glances do not bring the Lord under control, because the queens belong to the Chishakti and none of their glances or smiles are ever material. Nor should one say that the Lord is controlled by the general Chishakti arising from his Swarupa. He is actually controlled by Prema alone, which is a special function of Chishakti. From this conclusion, there are no more objections. So whatever the feelings expressed by the queens of Lord Krishna, they are not a function of ordinary Chishakti. They are the special form of Lord Chishakti. So all the activities in between Lord Krishna and his queens are all spiritual by nature. They don't have any material tinge. So in that way, so Sutta Goswami trying to establish that Lord Krishna's activities with his queens are not the activities like the ordinary human beings. They are completely transcendental.
Prabhuji,
Ah,
there
yes,
are two categories.
Ah.
Some queens.
Not some queens, some ladies. As I gave the example of the ladies of Hastinapur and the ladies of Dwaraka. Other ladies.
The second category, it is not speaking about queens.
Not queens. The queens who naturally possess the affection. Even if you take queens, sometimes if they do not agitate Lord Krishna, in a sense, Lord Krishna might be busy with something else, something like that, you can say. Whatever happening between Lord Krishna and his queens is all completely spiritual. It has no tinge of materialism. Because the Cupid himself says that what I can do, they are naturally attracted to each other. I don't have any work to do here. So he goes away. So in that way. Tamayam manyate loko iyasangam api sanginam atma upannena manujam vyaprunvanam yato buddha.
The common materialistic conditioned souls speculate that the Lord is one of them. Out of their ignorance, they think that the Lord is affected by matter, although he is unattached.
So here there is another quotation in order to explain how the Lord is beyond the influence of three modes of material nature. Ignorant people think of the Lord Though uncontempt, the Lord who is uncontempt by matter as one of the human being. Tam ayam manyate loko hi asangam api sanginam. Though the Lord has no connection with the material modes, but the people in this material world think that he is also one among us. We are completely in the three modes, and he is also in the three modes. Like that, they say. Then they say that Atma Panyena Manuja. They think that Krishna is also one among us, as we are. He is also like us, one of themselves, contaminated by matter because of seeing unappealing behavior, such as his compliance with Satyabhama's attachment to getting the Parijata tree. So this pastime is very well known. Everyone knows. When when Satyabhama insisted that the Nardamuni gave one Parijata flower, you gave it to Rukmini. I want tree itself. I also want Parijata flowers. Then Lord Krishna convinces her saying that I will bring you the entire tree only, what to speak of one flower. So this kind of behavior Lord Krishna actually is in similar to the modern the materialistic household or something like that. The man in this world also submits to the desires of the wife. So it seems that Krishna is also like one of us. So he is listening to Satyabhama and doing whatever she wants. So like that, some people say that Krishna is also like us. He is also one among us. But he is not. Asangam api sanginam. Though he apparently appears to be like one among us, but he is not one among us. Still he remains transcendental. Though the Lord is without material contamination, ignorant people think that he is associated with matter by looking at externals. They think of him in terms of themselves because of unappealing behavior, such that related to Satyabhama's attachment to getting the Parijata tree. So such kind of activities of Lord Krishna seems materialistic, but it is not so. The fool, devoid of discrimination of true and false, thinks that prema is material attachment, just as a fool thinks that sapphire is a glass. The dealings between Lord Krishna and his queens are out of sweet love. So out of love for Satyabhama, Lord Krishna goes to heaven and brings the Parijata tree. It is not like the activity of the mundane human beings. So it is not like that. So it is like seeing Krishna as one among us is like seeing a sapphire like a glass. Considering sapphire to be like a glass, any ordinary glass. Those people who does not understand the value of a sapphire, they see sapphire to be like another glass. So it can go to that extent. So sorry, it is already 55 or 57. So we have last two verses. We quickly go through so that this chapter will be completed. एतदीशानमीशस्य प्रकृतिस्थोऽपि तद्गुणै नायुज्यते सदात्मस्तैर्यथाबुद्धिस्तदाश्रया.
This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities.
Yeah. Here another verse which establishes the tattva of the Supreme Lord with a wonderful example. This is the power of the Lord. What is the power of the Lord? Though he is situated in the material world, Prakriti, he is not affected by the gunas which are situated in him. Just as the intelligence of the devotee remembering the Lord is not affected by the gunas. Though a pure devotee is living in this material world, he is not affected by what is happening in this material world because he is constantly in the remembrance of the Supreme Lord. Similarly, though the Supreme Lord is situated in the material world, though apparently all his activities seems to be materialistic activities, but he is not at all influenced by the three modes of material nature. Well, let us agree that Lord Krishna's pastimes with women are non-material because the women belong to the Chishakti. But he appeared in this material Yadu family in the material world and perceived with the eyes, with his senses, material objects such as a form, sound belonging to the demons like Jarasandha who are material. Therefore, it cannot be denied that he is associated with the gunas. And the current verse answers that. The power of the Lord is this. Though situated in material world, he has no contact with the gunas of Prakriti. The gunas are situated within him. He is situated in the gunas, and the gunas are also situated in him, but he has no contact with the gunas. So, for example, Lord Krishna entered into this material world. At one point of time, Mother Yashoda saw the entire universe within the abdomen of Lord Krishna. If the entire universe is within the abdomen of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna with that abdomen again entered into this universe, so which is right? Whether the universe is within Krishna or Krishna is within the universe. So that means, though Lord Krishna is inside the universe, he is not affected by the universe. So that's how the tattva is established. Thus the Lord is said to be without gunas. Though he is the basis of the whole material realm and the controller of it, he is not controlled by the material world, because he is the controller of the material world. So some quotations are given, one from Chaitanya Upanishad. Prabhupada quotes them elaborately in the purport. Sakshi Cheta Kevalo Nirgunascha. The Lord is simply Sakshi. He is simply witness in the material world. He is the consciousness. He is Sakshi. He is the Chetana. He is the consciousness. As Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that Kshetrajnan Chapi Mam Vidhi Sarva Kshetrishu Bharata. Understand that I am the knower of all the bodies. I am situated as the Paramatma in each and every living entity. That is Cheta. Kevalo Nirgunasta, and is completely without gunas. He is not at all having any three modes. Then it says that Satvadyo na santise yatra sa prakrita guna. The material gunas of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas do not exist in the Lord. Then it says that the Lord is divided of the gunas completely beyond Prakriti. Harirhi nirguna sakshat purusha prakrite para. So in that way, it is just like the intelligence of the greatest devotee, which as its object the Lord, and always remembers him. Though the intelligence is situated in Prakriti and is situated in the gunas of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, while being contended, praised or criticized, while being full of afflicted with hunger and thirst, and while walking, sleeping and in deep sleep, it is not connected to the gunas because of its indifference to the gunas. So one example is that Srila Ardas Tagore was beaten in 22 marketplaces. He was not at all disturbed by it. Instead, he was praying for the well-being of the soldiers who are beating him, because within the core of his heart, he was completely absorbed in remembering Lord's holy names, Lord's pastimes. So in that way, Raghunath Goswami seated on the bank of Radhakund in the midday, in the hot sun in the month of May. In the Vrindavan, May means very hot. He was completely absorbed in the meditation on Lord's pastimes. It is Radharani comes and puts shadow for Raghunath Goswami. So it is like that. Such kind of devotees completely become indifferent to what is happening around. At other time, a tiger was drinking water from Radhakund and Raghunath Goswami was in meditation. Lord Krishna comes and stands in between tiger and Raghunath Goswami. So they become completely indifferent. Though they are in the material world, they have nothing to do with this material world. They are out of the material world. Same way, though the Lord is in the material world, the Lord is completely out of the material world. So this establishes Lord's pastimes with the queens are not material activities. They are completely spiritual activities. So with these different examples, Sutta Goswami is trying to establish the transcendental nature of Lord's pastimes. Tam me nire balamuda strainam chanuvratam raha apramana vido vartur ishwaram matayo yata.
The simple and delicate women truly thought that Lord Sri Krishna, their beloved husband, followed them and was dominated by them. They were unaware of the extent of the glories of their husband, as the atheists are unaware of him as the supreme controller.
So this is the final verse. So herein one other aspect. So some might question, How can they do like this? He the Supreme Lord, he should be worshipped, he should be respected greatly. And why these queens are behaving like ordinary women? So such kind of things one may question. And this verse says that Lord Krishna covered their knowledge aspect. Though they know that the transcendental great position of Lord Krishna so high, but by his Yogamaya potency, Lord Krishna covered their knowledge of Lord Krishna in order to enjoy the bliss of conjugal rasa. The wives, bewildered by the Lord's Yogamaya, not capable of estimating the prowess of their husband, considered the Lord to be under the control of their love and their womanly natures, just as intelligence by itself cannot know the Supreme Lord. So ultimately, the queens of Lord Krishna are under the control of Yogamaya, and we, on the other hand, are under the control of Mahamaya. That's why we don't know about the Lord. Though they know and everything about the Lord, but their knowledge is covered by Yogamaya, so that they can deal with the Supreme Lord in a affectionate way. The parents can deal with Lord Krishna like the parents. If everyone always in the knowledge, they cannot deal with the Lord in that reciprocation way. It is very difficult. So in that way. Then do the queens to whom he is always attached, being full of knowledge, know everything about Krishna? No. They also do not know him, because perfect knowledge of those women arising from his Swarupa is covered by the Yogamaya of the Lord in order to nourish the rasa. That is explained in this verse. These women considered their husband to be controlled by their love, controlled by their womanly nature, because they have been bewildered by the Lord's Yogamaya to nourish Madhurya Rasa. Just as people playing in the ocean do not know the extent of the ocean, they do not know the extent of their husband. Just like we can never understand how long the ocean is there, standing on the bank of the ocean, like Jagannath Puri, when we go, we just sit on the bank of the ocean and we can see to some extent, but not completely. Similarly, these wives also, since their knowledge is covered by Yogamaya, they are treating Krishna as their husband. That's all. The intellectual functions of those who write scriptures engaged in defying the Lord know very little because of various opinions, such as the Lord is the material cause of the universe, the Lord is the controlling cause of the or efficient cause of the universe. Generally, the materialistic writers who talk about the Lord, they only talk about the Lord in the point of view of creation. For them, Lord means the creator and the maintainer. And for the materialistic people, Lord is the fulfiller of their desires. They don't know anything than that. But only pure devotees can experience the four rasas intimately. Dasya, Sakya, Vasalya, Madhurya, without the tinge of Aishwarya. So in order to experience that rasa, Lord Krishna covered their knowledge. So in that way. Thus finally, one should not consider those women material, because they are endowed with prema and the Lord is controlled by their prema. Since it has been said that they serve the Lord with prema. So their service of the Lord is not inspired by the material modes. It is completely inspired by spiritual, loving, affectionate dealings on the platform of prema, on the highest platform of prema. So 3-4 verses explained about their display of their affection towards Lord Krishna, and the remaining verses explained about the tattva of their love towards Lord Krishna. Their love towards Lord Krishna is not at all material. So in that way. So thank you very much. These verses had a lot of elaborate purpose. Prabhupada goes into many details. So we'll stop here. I hope devotees could follow the discussion.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, next
Hare
week,
Krishna. Thank you very
next
much.
week exam hoga.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Prabhuji. Krishna.
Next week we'll start the next chapter and small exam will be there.
And प्रभु जी असाइनमेंट लिखने के है क्या सब?
Which assignment?
जो आप क्वेश्चन आंसर दे रहे हो उसके पहले हम लिखते थे ना फर्स्ट टर्न चैप्टर का पूरा भागवतम में से ओपन बुक टेस्ट जैसा था, ओपन बुक असाइनमेंट।
Oh, मिलेगा. I will make it. I was busy with some other things in the last couple of weeks. Next week I'll become little free, so then I'll do it. I will send it by next weekend. Open book assignment for the first canto. Okay, thank you very much for joining.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhakta ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Voice recording, silence.